What if TNT duping suddenly stopped working in Minecraft, never to return? Could we still build a fully renewable blast chamber without it? It turns out, yes. And not just without duping, but without glitches, and even without using TNT at all. Join me on a journey of discovery in the first installment of Redstone Lab with MistRazor. Let's begin with a simple question. Why use a TNT duper in the first place? Well, for just 4 sand and 5 gunpowder, you get infinite explosions, a great deal when TNT itself isn't renewable. But here's the twist. Since sand is the limiting factor for crafting TNT, and we can farm creepers for endless gunpowder, why not just use the creepers themselves? Well, there are 3 primary disadvantages of using creepers over TNT. 1. A creeper explosion doesn't drop all exploded blocks, it destroys some of them. 2. TNT can be easily automatically ignited by redstone. Creepers, not so much. And 3. TNT isn't actively trying to kill you. We can't fix number 1, so I wouldn't use creepers for something expensive like concrete, which, funny enough, is also limited by sand. But for bulk resources, some degree of loss is manageable. So we just need to solve number 2 and number 3. As long as we stay out of reach, the creepers won't kill us. As for igniting them, I came across an interesting post by Reddit user PiggyFriend1792. It showed that you can use a pufferfish to force a creeper to ignite. Now that's what I call a starting point. Let's get experimenting. The design they showed looked a lot like this, where they had water at the bottom so that way they could use the blast as a source of damage instead of using it to blow up blocks. And then they had the pufferfish up here so that way the creeper would fall past it, get damaged, and then try to blow it up. But the way that we built it here, the pufferfish is a little too high up, so the creeper doesn't think that it can reach the pufferfish, and so it actually stops trying to explode. Now that we've moved the pufferfish down by 1 block, when we put in a creeper, it actually does ignite. But the problem is that it takes out the pufferfish along with it, which is not so good. The other problem with this design is that the pufferfish has a tendency to just fall out of the bottom sporadically. So we're going to have to come up with a better design than this, but it's a good starting point. My next idea is, what if we put the pufferfish in a minecart to stop it from falling out of the bottom and then just have it go around in a circle on waterlogged rails? That should keep it from falling out of the bottom and still have it be close enough to the creeper to set it off. But when we try that, we can see that the creeper doesn't even try to explode. It's not even looking at the pufferfish, so I'm guessing it's either not close enough to it for long enough, or it just can't see the pufferfish. So I think the circular rail option is a no-go. I do think keeping the pufferfish in a minecart is a good idea, since it helps us control its position. So let's try positioning it on the ledge, where the creeper will hopefully be able to see it. Alright, well, it did explode, but it took out the minecart with it. And now I'm wondering, what if we put the pufferfish just a little bit further away? So maybe a half block higher than it is now. Would it be able to avoid the blast while still setting off the creeper? And we'll get rid of the water part at the bottom. It'll allow us to better control the creeper's Y coordinate. It's going to mean that this glass gets blown up, but I've taken a Lightmatica schematic of this, so we can rebuild it when it destroys it if the creeper in fact does blow up. The real question is, does it blow up the minecart or the pufferfish? Hopefully not. Alright, let's give it a try. Does not work. It's looking at it, but it doesn't think it's close enough. Maybe if we try something that's a little bit thinner, like a trapdoor? Okay, let's give it another try. Oh, wait, the pufferfish is out of the water. Can't do that. There we go. Okay, let's give this another try. Nope, still not quite close enough, I guess. And we already know it'll blow up the minecart if we get rid of that trapdoor underneath it, so perhaps a change in tactics is in order. My next idea is, if dropping the creeper down past the pufferfish isn't working, what if we shoot the creeper up past the pufferfish? We could use a bubble column to push the creeper away from the pufferfish and hopefully make it explode far enough away that it won't hurt the pufferfish. I think the key is to make sure the creeper keeps moving up and away as it reaches the point of no return, so it's still forced to explode, but as far away as possible. Giving it a try, and it didn't explode. It didn't even try. which seems odd. I wonder if it's because it needs to aggro the pufferfish just as soon as it spawned. So let's try a slight tweak that gives the creeper a few seconds to orient itself before we push it close to the pufferfish. Okay. And it blew it up. But still, progress. So let's try raising this upper cap thing by 1, so it won't push the creeper down quite so much. And maybe that'll help keep the pufferfish safe. Okay, pufferfish still alive. And blew up some of the blocks, smooth stone, so that's good. Get rid of that. Clearly we need to make the top of this out of blast resistant blocks, so let's just replace the top 2 layers with obsidian, and we'll make the cap out of obsidian too. Just to keep the creeper from bouncing up too high and then not exploding. Let's surround the lip with soul sand to get an idea of what the drop rate's going to be. Okay. And we got 2 out of 10 soul out of 10 soul sand. We got 2, which is not amazing. But, you know, this is for bulk resources, things that you're going to want to have the farm just running and set it and forget it. So the fact that we're getting anything at all is probably good enough. And hopefully this was just unlucky. At any rate, we got some drops and the pufferfish lived, so we're in a good spot. At least we would be, but the pufferfish seems to just die randomly every once in a while. So let's install the mob health indicators mod to see what's going on. Okay, a pufferfish has 3 HP by default, so 1.5 hearts. And then when we start pumping creepers through this, yeah, he took half a heart of damage right there. So it's far away, but maybe not far away enough. So I've got 2 main ideas to keep this pufferfish safe. First is to drop it down onto a slab to give it a little more vertical distance. And the second is to use glass panes to give it a little more horizontal distance. And I'll use black stained glass to make it easier to see. But this is basically just to make sure that the creeper doesn't go too far to the left. Hopefully when it comes over, it'll kind of hit the stained glass and bounce off and come back. Just to keep it a little bit further away from the pufferfish. So let's give it a try. And it didn't take any damage, so let's run an experiment. I'll do this 100 times, and we'll see if it takes any damage in the process. And after 100 blasts, the pufferfish is still at full HP. So we can say with reasonable confidence that this method is working. The one thing I noticed is that some of the creepers ended up going forward and then the slime block couldn't push them, which caused some problems. So I'm thinking if we just get rid of this sign and let the water kind of flow backwards, then that should push the creeper here. But the problem with doing that, I think, is it's gonna make the creepers bounce up. So we're gonna need to cap this off somehow, and I've got some ideas on how to do that. Okay, so now when we drop a creeper in, it should touch the string, which will trigger the observer, which will open this under its feet and pull the slime block back. And then when it leaves the string area, it'll flick this again, and it'll also push the slime block back forward and pushing it up and in. So let's see how that works, if it works. And it does. So we can get rid of this little button. Not going to need that anymore. Now that we have the blast chamber itself figured out, we need a mechanism to feed the creepers into it one at a time. The way it's set up, if a second creeper falls in before the first has been pushed into the bubble column, the machine will stop. So sending a single creeper at a time is important. And for that, we'll use this little beauty, the Simple Entity Splitter by Puowick. I swapped in a honey block to allow the creepers to fall in from above, without also being able to jump out. Which is convenient, since having too many creepers in there will cause entity cramming damage, and a hopper placed underneath the honey block can collect any gunpowder that drops when creepers die from that. Okay, so I've got it built now. So when we put a creeper in, it blows up the sign. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna have to move this back so we don't need a sign. It's just gonna keep getting blown up. Okay, so now the water doesn't need a sign. It's good. We can fill this full of creepers. There we are. I see. Yeah, it's because of the spread, I think. So as much as it's useful having this torch here, I think we need to replace it with a solid block, which means we're going to need to reconfigure this a bit. Ah, we can do that. There we go. That should take care of the creepers falling out. Huh. Oh, I get it. It's because of this block. This needs to be a transparent block. Should have seen that. Whoa. Oh. Okay, yep, you're all dead. Yikes. Guess what we're gonna have to do actually is that. And then this block won't be getting powered. I think that'll do it. Well, let's see. There we go. Okay. Good, good. Awesome. Oh, I get it. They're all on the verge of death probably because of the entity cramming, and then the pufferfish just straight up kills them. So we need a way to deal with the entity cramming damage. Luckily, I have just the thing. In raids, witches throw splash potions to heal their fellow raid mobs, in particular the raid captain. So if we kidnap a raid captain and a witch from a raid, we can use the witch to heal the creepers by placing the raid captain near them. So let's set up a little village and spawn a raid in order to do just that. And ideally we'd get a Vindicator rather than a Pillager to be the raid captain, because Pillagers can shoot at us, and Vindicators can't. But luckily we've got a witch here, which is great. There we go. Okay, so now we only have these two left. Just need to bring them together so that way the witch will heal the creepers by accident while it's healing the Vindicator. I think we probably want to put them back here. The splash potion should get the creepers if they're inside here. So, kind of build our little witch enclosure. Let's get the witch here. I need to put these sides up so they can't escape. And then we'll put the raid captain Vindicator right here. I'm sure you know how to move mobs with rails, so I don't see a whole lot of point in showing you how to do that here. So we're just going to TP the witch directly. There we go. And now we need to put a cap over the witch to keep her from escaping. Can she not see the Vindicator? I guess she can't. Well, that's all right. We'll temporarily teleport the Vindicator down here. Raise this up by a block. There we go. And teleport the Vindicator again. Put a cap on them so they can't escape. Nothing? There we go. And now let's see if it would hit us while we're in here. Yep, it does. Cool. So we're going to put a creeper in here. And let's turn on the mob health indicators. Okay. The creeper's taking some damage. And it heals up. Okay. So this should be our entity cramming damage problem solved. And now that we don't need this village anymore, Oh, don't look so happy. This was a gimme. You didn't even get to the villagers. I've made a terrible mistake. By letting them win the raid, the witch is no longer curing the raid captain. So, we're gonna have to do all that again. Now let's name tag them to make sure they don't despawn. There's actually 3 witches in here. Hopefully I got them all. So you shall be vending machine, and you shall be a handful of quarters. And I guess we're not going to kill the villagers this time. But what we are going to do is silence the witch and the vindicator, because it's driving me insane. I can't do it. We're going to be using the silence mobs data pack from Vanilla Tweaks. Silence. It's a beautiful thing. But I guess we got to rename you guys. Vending machine. Handful of quarters. You just can't talk anymore, which makes me happy. All right, and now we'll try putting in a whole bunch of creepers and make sure that they recover from the entity cramming damage. Okay, let's turn on mob health indicators. Okay. Yeah, you should definitely have enough. Yep, you do. Guess I should get you guys a little bit lower, huh? Whoa! I didn't know that would happen. It's like a creeper cannon. Okay, well, creeper cannon notwithstanding, the next thing we need to do is make a creeper farm and hook it up, so that way the creepers fall into the entity splitter. All right, we'll build a drop chute for them to fall through. I'll leave that open so that way the potion splash can hit them. And we'll build a spawn platform up here. We're just gonna simulate a farm. We're gonna pretend it's a real creeper farm. It's just gonna be a creeper spawner. And here we are. It's gonna generate creepers and we can send them out. And he got stuck. Well, that would be a problem. Let's see, maybe just getting rid of that. Now, nope, it just gets stuck there. Okay, well, I guess we're going to need to move it so that way the entity splitter drops the creeper into the water stream directly, so that way it doesn't have a chance to just sit here and do nothing. I moved it up and over so that way the creepers fall directly down into the water stream, and we put this crossbar of obsidian here and raise the level of the walls by 1 so that way the creepers just can't get out. And now they go where I want them to. Excellent. So now what we need to do is attach a clock to this so that way the creepers come out with a regular cadence. And then we just need to set up a water flow collection system here so we can collect the stuff that gets blasted, and then just like a piston push system to push blocks in to get blasted. All right, we've added just a basic etho hopper clock, and then we've got an observer on a sticky piston to change that from a continuous redstone signal to just a short pulse, which we're lengthening to 2 ticks so that way it makes sure to turn off this torch. And in doing that, we have an automatic blast chamber at this point. Except I've noticed that sometimes creepers get caught on this trapdoor, so we're gonna have to do something about that, because when that happens, it backs up the whole machine and it just stops putting creepers in. Okay, potential solution. Currently, it opens up to this side, which means that there's like a little lip that they can basically get caught on. If they're on these 3 pixels over here, then they won't fall down when it opens. So I think what we want to do in that case is put it on the other side so it opens this way, and then we'll line the drop chute with more trapdoors that are open like this. And I realized that if this works, that means that we could have brought this closer again, and because we could have had a sign there that protected the water from coming down, but I'm not going to move it at this point. That's way too much work. So if you want to build it yourself, go ahead and make it closer. But let's see if this works before I even recommend that. There we go. Okay, it didn't blow up the trapdoor this time. Didn't blow it up again. Okay, I think we can say that that's working. Also, I moved this block out because some of the creepers were just kind of bouncing in this 1x1 hole. And obviously that is counterproductive. So I moved it out so that way they can't just stay in one spot. They'll at least start to move forward a little bit. Ha! You would have been one of the ones that got stuck, but nope, not this time, buddy. And now I've realized that the raid bar is gone. I did some reading, and it turns out that raids can only last 40 minutes before they expire, so the infinite regen forever witches are actually infinite regen for about 40 minutes witches. So unless any of you have a workaround for raids or for curing up the creepers, we'll just have to deal with the fact that we'll sometimes have duds due to entity cramming damage. Also, creepers can still get stuck even with the fixed trapdoors, because every once in a while they move over at exactly the wrong time and then get stuck because there is enough space for them between the oak and iron trapdoors because of the string. So let's try repositioning the string so there's never more than a 1-block gap between trapdoors, and then the creepers should never be able to get stuck. Now, there's never more than a 1-block gap in between trapdoors, so it shouldn't be possible for creepers to get stuck anymore. And let's do a tick sprint for a day to see if that is indeed true. Yep, seems like the creepers no longer get stuck, which is great. Alright, I think we can consider the blast chamber itself solved at this point. So now it's just time for the water stream collection system and the input of blocks that we're going to explode. Okay, so I think that we can put some waterlogged slabs up here and that will get the water flowing in this direction, being that we kind of want a collection platform about like this. And then we will have some chests down here to collect everything that comes in. So let's get our bucket of water and our smooth stone slab here. Just try one side to start with. Great. Okay, so let's do the other side. Actually, let's see how explodable this is. Anything that's waterlogged should be immune. These blocks right here, I think these should probably be obsidian. Like that. Let's do these ones as well. Okay. And we're going to want this to go both directions so that way we can have blocks on both sides. So, building this lip here. And then let's get our water bucket out again. And add some waterlogged slabs. Oh, did I make this one further away? I did. I don't think it's really going to matter. So now let's, what do we want to blow up? Target blocks? Let's see how many of these get exploded. And make sure that they all get collected. Ooh, that's rough. How many of those? Okay, out of the 10 that we added, 6 survived. But unfortunately, they all landed right here where they're not going to get collected. So we need to raise this up so the blocks can't land on it. Oh, sorry, that was out of 20. We only got 6. All right, let's do it again. Okay. Got 9. And I'm guessing none went on this side, but just to be sure. Yep. Okay, now we just need the block pushing system to get the blocks ready to get blasted. We've just built a simple cobblestone generator. So we've got these waterlogged copper grates and then lava that flows in. So whenever the pistons extend, it leaves a gap, which then fills with cobblestone. And this just keeps going. So basically just need anything that has a 2-high column of blocks that you can push into place. So I think what we're going to do is add a simple clock to this. This doesn't need to be super complicated. Just probably 6 hoppers in a loop. 1 piece of smooth stone in there. And that'll stop pushing once it reaches the end here. So now all we have to do is turn it on and watch our blast chamber work. Free cam down, and then let's tick sprint for a day. Actually, let's do 5 days. And there we are. And in 5 game days, we got 18, 19, 20 stacks and 63. So I consider this a success. We can use any block that we want, although I would not recommend using expensive blocks, as I said. But we've successfully built a blast chamber that's completely renewable and doesn't rely on glitches or TNT duping or anything like that. So if you enjoyed this episode and think it deserves a like, I greatly appreciate it. If you have any comments about this new series or about this particular contraption, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. With that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!